It started with 30 robots, aspiring to become the BashBots champion. One by one, competitors were eliminated from the competition. As the field narrowed down, the competition grew stronger.
Wow, explosions!
Tonight, we crown a champion. From 4 countries, an international showdown will take place. From 4 countries, the 4 most elite robots in the competition battle for supremacy. From the United States, the legendary Thunderwave. From England, the cunning control bot Tenderlove. From Ireland, the deadliest flipper in the competition Polis. And from Lithuania, the Season 1 runners-up Clank over Heaven. 4 bots step into the box with one single goal. Through carnage, chaos and destruction, only one will survive.
Oh, that's a really big blow!
That's a huge impact!
They aim to raise this trophy and call themselves the BashBots 2020 World Champion. This is BashBots, the Grand Final.
Has won BashBots Season 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are around the world, hello and welcome to the season finale of BashBots 2020. I am your host, the Dominus Cygnus, and tonight is the night we finally crown our champion. 30 robots began, and now only 4 remain in what has been one of the toughest competitions we have ever seen. Only 2 fights separate these builders from the giant wrench and the title of BashBots 2020 champion. Before we get going, let's take a look at our bracket. 2 semi-finals and a championship final. On the left, Clank over Heaven, last year's runner-up, will take on the legendary Thunderwave in a classic vertical versus horizontal spinner matchup. On the right, a rematch from Season 1 sees Tenderlove and Polis duke it out for a spot in the final. It's time for destruction, and we are going to get things going with the number 3 seed Polis taking on the number 7 seed Tenderlove in our first semi-final. Let's take a look at how they made it this far into the tournament. Asserting itself as the number 1 control bot, Tenderlove fought Rumble in the qualifying round and got them stuck on the wall, winning by KO. In the round of 16, Type 18 destroyed parts of it early, but some brilliant driving saw them forced into the corner and out of the arena by Tenderlove. In the quarterfinals, Tenderlove fought Amethyst in a beautifully controlled match against the self-damaged Amethyst, taking the judge's decision. As the deadliest flipper in the competition, Polis has had a very simple path to the semi-finals, and out of the arena on Hospice, and out of the arena on Sea Devil, and out of the arena on Ursula. Will they flip Tenderlove out of the arena too? We'll have to find out. Let's send it down to the Dan Beaver to break down the match.
What? You thought you were done with the rematches? Not in your life! Tenderlove made it 2-0 against Amethyst the round before, and now it's ready to take back its loss to Polis from last year. Of course, Polis has hardly been sitting around doing nothing meanwhile, as it took on Ursula last round and it won quite handily. But this is Polis' first opponent in the brackets who can self-wipe both quickly and reliably though, so it's on both robots to keep up the pressure and get their robot out of the arena as soon as possible. I think we're all ready for this roaring rampage of a rematch, so let's go and watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? It's robot fighting time! In the red square from England, it's Tenderlove!
Alright, let the rematch begin. Tenderlove will want to stake their place in the grand final by beating Polis, the one who knocked them out of BashBots last season. There we see them in the dramatic win over Amethyst though.
In the blue square from Ireland, it's Polis!
And in comes the second bot to complete this rematch, Polis. These two had a terrific face-off last time around, very close. We'll be hoping for the same again this time around. But as we see Ursula go out the arena, this one is for a place in the final. Big stakes, big flips, and a big, big matchup.
The judges' decision didn't go my way last year, so there's only one way that I can win this, is to do what I did last year, but more of it. Let, at no point, Polis get out of my grasp.
So last year, Polis fought Tenderlove, and I think that was one of the closest matches I've ever driven. Tenderlove is a really good control bot, but I think compared to last year, our exposed wheels will help us not get caught in its dustpan. So that'll hopefully give us the edge, where we can just flip him around and escape from him if we have to.
The stakes are high. Let the rematch begin.
Semi-final battle number 1. Not the first time these two have met, and Polis with an early tender flick over of Tenderlove. Oh,
Oh, but then throwing itself over with its attack. They can't get the situation back on the ground, but now look at that drifting to keep the wedge pointed at Tenderlove. There's very little you can do in response to that, as it's stuck on the flipper and chucked through the air.
really good start here from Polis. A couple of good early flips. That one sees both machines split apart in mid-air. And now Tenderlove wedging underneath, but bumps in to the arena side wall. Now, Tenderlove in underneath again, and that's a good little lift. Polis has to self-right and does cleanly. And then that's a good response too. Whoa!
Yeah, wheeling back, and then look at the weapon action from Tenderlove. Just trying to get that thing level, but it's not going to get a chance while the robot's flying through the air.
Tenderlove again on the back foot here, trying to just compose itself. What a big fling from Polis! Oh, halfway across the arena there, and underneath again. They can't quite. Tenderlove. Oh! I was about to say they can't get themselves grounded and prepared, and they certainly were anywhere near but the ground there. Polis again chucking them through the air. And it's been a strong, strong opening period from the number 3 seed here.
Yes, certainly. When we saw these two face off in season 1,
Oh, there goes
so
the lip!
close, but now Polis doing the damage. We always see the front wedge strip of Tenderlove come off, to be honest, but this is quite one-sided at the moment, and Tenderlove is going to have to work very hard, but
Whoa!
Polis is going to put some of the effort in itself, chucking itself on the floor flipper.
Well, one thing you never can do is rule out Tenderlove. Always capable of the most unusual KOs. Interesting maneuvers. Can it do something here? 1 minute to play. Polis is wrapped around, flicks itself free. Tenderlove coming forward again, but going upwards. Time ticking down for the number 7 seed.
Yeah, I think we're at that stage where Tenderlove kind of needs some kind of knockout attack to swing this one, because Polis has been more dominant than it was in Season 1. As we get another flip in, we're guaranteed a non-spinner in the final through this fight, but here comes Tenderlove's chance!
Oh,
Interrupted by the flipper.
Certainly intercepted it there. Just under 30 seconds to play. Tenderlove getting a bit more harried in its manoeuvring now, but it's still going airborne. Polis has pulled off so many of those flips in this match, and they could be flips that seal a place in the BashBots title fight maybe. 10 seconds to play.
All Polis needs to do now is run away. They've surely got the points, but then again, you can never quite tell with the judges. It is going to go down to them, but that was a brilliant last-minute attack. Had Tenderlove got that bit more power in, that could have swung it completely, but it goes to the judges. and this is what they'll be looking at. Suddenly there are a lot more eyes on Tenderlove after an attack of that quality right at the end. And there we see a very clever attack actually over the kill source, damaging the wheels of Polis there, and the floor flipper intercepting as well. But we can't forget the sheer number of flips that Polis carried out with that big green flipper onto Tenderlove's own builder there.
The results from the judges are in. The winner, by unanimous decision, is Polis!
And winning on a judge's decision in an extremely tight fight, Polis secures a spot in the championship final where it will fight the winner of our next fight, Clank over Heaven versus Thunderwave. In the qualifying round, Clank repeatedly sent Navigator flying and won by a judge's decision. He quickly disposed of Mygronic in the round of 16, throwing him out of the arena. In the quarterfinals, Clank brilliantly ripped the weapon off of GT Nihon and flipped them over, rendering them immobile. In its grand return to combat, Thunderwave faced Mygronic in the qualifying round and Mygronic was left immobile and split in half. Thunderwave then fought Yatagaritsu, ripping off both wheels. In the quarterfinals, Thunderwave fought Cosmo. It was expected to be a difficult fight, but when Cosmo was flipped over and couldn't self-right, Thunderwave took advantage and ripped the wheels off, winning by knockout. Let's send it down to our match analyst, the Dan Beaver, to break down this second semi-final matchup.
And just like that, only one new robot stands in this competition. Thunderwave's taken no prisoners so far, ripping apart Mygronic for its qualifier and showing no mercy against Yatagarasu and Cosmo in bracket. We're all left wondering, who's the next victim? Well, as it turns out, it's our runner-up and number 1 seed Clank over Heaven, that's who. So lucky for Thunderwave then, Clank has a very similar design to Cosmo, who, you know, Thunderwave just ripped to shreds. However, if we love Clank over Heaven for anything, then it's its ability to charge right through some massive spinner attacks and hit them back right where it hurts. This is going to be a match of some epic proportions, so find somewhere safe, grab some popcorn, and watch the fireworks unfold.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? It's robot fighting time! In the red square from Lithuania, it's Clank over Heaven!
And here's our number 1 seed, Clank over Heaven. Remember, they were the runner-up in Season 1, but the reigning champion is long gone. They are the tournament favourites, and they are one step away from the grand final now. Can they get there again?
In the blue square from the USA, it's Thunderwave!
If there's going to be any machine that can match Clank over Heaven for raw power, you'd imagine it would be Thunderwave. It's expressed itself multiple times during this tournament. Here's one of those KO victories in the last round against Cosmo. Now, it's the biggest challenge of the lot. Can Thunderwave beat the number 1 seed?
Okay, so my strategy for this fight is I'm gonna keep my front end pointed towards Thunderwave, because that's where all my armor is. I'm gonna kick him up with my vertical spinner, and then I'm gonna keep kicking him until he dies. The end.
Spin my weapon up, hit his sides, hope that I don't get knocked into the air, and yeah, beat the crap out of him.
Who will join Polis in the final, Thunderwave or Clank over Heaven?
Well, you won't see many bigger hits than what you might see during this fight. The number 1 seed, Clank over Heaven. The number 4 seed, Thunderwave. When is the first big bang going to occur between these two.
I can hardly stand the tension. That's not what we were waiting for. Just a minor chip, but they're still circling around each other, building up. Ooh, clipping the wheel. But no visible damage taken yet.
Yeah, Thunderwave remained static just for a second there, and that allowed Clank Over Heaven to come in, and again flicking upwards. But Clank Over Heaven is knocked over this time and has to do that little cartwheel. Nearly got itself in big danger there. Oh, that's a really big
they go
blow.
for the slap from behind, and that knocks Clank Over Heaven away, and now they're stuck in the corner while Thunderwave is holding center stage and begging Clank Over Heaven on. That's a good response, and they're going to have to separate and fight the stage control again.
One of Thunderwave's front forks has gone. Now it's over. Has to get itself back over, and then get itself back up to speed again. Flicks Clank Over Heaven over.
Straight on the front of Clank Over Heaven as they bound all over the arena. They are still not back in their wheels yet, and as soon as they are, they're back over again.
This is a terrific opening period of this fight. Thunderwave really holding its own, and again slaps Clank Over Heaven across the arena floor.
Are we going to see another one of those back slaps? Thunderwave is pointing it towards. There we see a side swipe instead. Good hit from Thunderwave.
It's a really close fight so far. Clank Over Heaven going for the straight into its face attack there, and it did knock Thunderwave over along with itself. What can Clank do though to get one of these big exchanges in that it's known for?
Think about all the different approaches that Thunderwave can use. They can use the wedges to get under and hit something. They can hit with the back for maximum range, or they can hit with the side to keep on moving on an attack. So many choices, while Clank Over Heaven has to get underneath and cause the damage, which they are doing right now.
Another one of those forks going away from Thunderwave. Not massive damage so far visually, but could it end up totting up and allow for an eventual big hit to that front wedge? That's a good hit. That's a good follow through!
And that's part of the weapon housing on top of the tree. Mech looks to be floating in midair almost, but Thunderwave's weapon is still intact, as are all the wheels. The wedges are kind of even, but still starting to take away.
Ooh,
Clank Over Heaven in danger!
Big exchange again! Clank does steady itself before the follow-through attack. Clank knocks Thunderwave aside and flicks underneath. Brilliant battle between these two here in the BashBots semi-final.
But here we are in the final few seconds. That's a brilliant finish from Clank Over Heaven. This is going to be a very hard one for the judges to separate as Clank keeps getting thrown.
Terrific battle and terrific fun.
So, ignoring the post-match banter, this was a titanic tussle between the vertical disc of Clank Over Heaven and the huge horizontal bar of Thunderwave. There was damage to both machines, good direct attacks from both, measured approaches. That could have been the critical damage though, as we go to the judges' decision.
The results from the judges are in. We have a split decision. The winner is Clank Over Heaven!
And losing by the slimmest of margins, it's goodbye to Thunderwave. The victorious Clank Over Heaven returns to the pit to prepare for the championship final against Polis in what should be an incredible fight. But before that, it's time for the third place playoff between Thunderwave and Tenderlove. Let's send it down to the Dan Beaver to break down the fight.
Down but not out, these two are fighting for one thing and one thing only, to get a coveted spot on that beautiful, beautiful podium. Now, what makes this fight interesting is that while both robots have fought the weapon types that they're facing today, it's never been to this magnitude. I mean, sure, Thunderwave's taken on wedges before, but never quite as low as Tenderlove. And, of course, we've seen Tenderlove take on and defeat spinner after spinner, even here on BashBots, but they've never been quite as big and terrifying as Thunderwave. This match could go either way, especially when both teams are fighting tooth and nail to get any of the glory that they can. It may not be the final, but I'm still just as hyped up.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? It's robot fighting time! In the red square, from England, it's Tenderlove! In the blue square from the USA, it's Thunderwave!
Alright, Tenderlove here off the back of that loss to Polis, while Thunderwave lost the very close match to Clank over Heaven. Who can take third place?
Who wants bronze? Tenderlove or Thunderwave? Tenderlove trying to sneak in immediately, but losing that front lip again. And could that signal what could be a brutal bash down from Thunderwave, maybe?
Oh, well, that's a good response now that the strip's out of the way. They're just being used to deflect the wheel. It's gone from Tenderlove, and they've only got 2 on their wagon. They are having to drift around the arena on one wheel, and that is a huge amount of strain on the motors. Well, they don't have to worry about that. Both wheels are already gone. Thunderwave has won this match near immediately, and they will be taking home the bronze today.
Well, Thunderwave has shown power throughout this BashBots tournament. Didn't quite make it to the stage it wanted to, but this is another brilliant beatdown of another very, very good machine. Not many machines could do what Thunderwave has done in such quick and brutal time as it has here to Tenderlove.
Yep, this match will come to a close as soon as the countout decides it to be, but Thunderwave, they know they can't win the championship now. They want to make the most of while they're still here and cause more damage to poor old Tenderlove.
Wiring up for one more big blow. 10-second count out. One more hit. Thunderwave!
Crippling damage in the final blow. But well done anyway to Tenderlove on their 4th place finish. That is nothing to be scoffed at.
Terrific stuff again from Thunderwave. Credit to both of these two. Great stuff.
So there is the victory lap. The wedge strip went as we always tend to see with Tenderlove. That was the only real attack of note for them before the wheel just got clipped off with the first direct impact. There went the second, and this was nothing but a parade for Thunderwave after that. 3rd place.
And securing 3rd place, it's safe to say that the team behind Thunderwave have redeemed themselves for Deathstalker's performance last year. Tenderlove finished the season with an extremely respectable 4th place finish. But now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. The fight that we've been building up to all season long. It's time for the championship final between Clank over Heaven and Polis. Let's send it down to the damn beaver for one last time to break down the fight.
Well, here we are once again. 2 robots have fought tooth and nail to get to this point, and if we could, we give them both the championship. But, well, there can only be one. Polis or Clank over Heaven. Both robots have a surprising lack of experience fighting the weapon type that they are today. With the last vertical spinner Polis took on was Connection back in Season 1, and the last flipper Clank over Heaven fought was Wowplow, also back in Season 1. Both robots have obviously improved since then, and so we have a final that's almost impossible to predict. But, as I say so many times, that's just how we love it. So, for one final time, let's see how this goes down.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the championship final! In the red square from Lithuania, it's Clank over Heaven!
And first into the arena, our number 1 seed, Clank over Heaven. They've been the favourites ever since Sparks' early defeat in the very early stages of the tournament. They haven't been without worry. Their last 2 opponents have both given them trouble, most notably Thunderwave in the semi-final, but they did pull through, and now they're the favoured robot as we head into the grand final.
In the blue square from Ireland, it's Polis!
And completing this grand final title fight lineup is Polis, the big BashBots flipper. The green and black machine hoping for a dream. There's the flips we've seen on the likes of Tenderlove throughout this competition. Wheeled into the arena one final time. Is this Polis's time? We will see very shortly. Here are the two teams. Here are the two machines. It's Polis
and Clank over Heaven.
Okay, so my strategy for this fight is gonna be try to avoid the front of Polis at all times. It has a very potent weapon and it has a very low wedge, which has gotten it into this far into the tournament so far. So I'm gonna have to be very careful with my gyro, and for the last time this series, I'm gonna get him good.
We haven't fought a vertical spinner since Connection in Season 1, and they can't really compare to Clank at all. Clank is just like on another level with the power in it. So, like really because of how fast Clank is and how maneuverable it is, probably just gonna come down to the wedge game who's lower. We'll try and flip him around, hopefully out of the arena.
Our two finalists, Clank over Heaven and Polis, are ready to go. Who's going to be the BashBots champion? Nobody knows, but everything is on the line, and they want to win.
Well, here we go. We are back to the crowning fight. Two machines have made it this far. Polis, Clank over Heaven. Which of these two can take the crown now?
Even now, they're evenly matched with one attack each. They're keeping in close quarters. Over goes Polis, but itself right into the grinder is relatively unpunished by Clank over Heaven. Who's going to win this one?
Clank over Heaven with a flick over on Polis. Polis retreating near the arena wall. That's where Clank over Heaven can close and then cause further problems. Polis flicked away and Clank over Heaven pursues once again.
Still even exchanges. Polis flipping itself over more than it can flip Clank over Heaven, but still getting away without major damage at the moment. This is even Stevens. I can hardly stand it, but that's a brilliant flip from Polis.
And Clank over Heaven steadying itself. Polis again underneath! Spiraling flip! And Polis has done it! Surely!
That is it!
There's no recovering from that one! And the dreams of this green machine may well be seen! There it is! Staggering stuff!
Clank over Heaven doing their best to try and pop out from behind the wall with the spinner, but it's all in vain. Polis has won BashBots Season 2.
I think they're in shock. Polis isn't even moving. You just can't believe it. Well, okay, there we go. There's the celebration.
There's the
but
proof.
What an incredible KO flip from our number 3 seed, and now our BashBots champion.
Let's see it all again. There we see the early exchanges where they were so even. You have to think that Clank over Heaven was doing damage, but it wasn't major, and Polis kept relatively composed. They sometimes threw themselves over or fell into the grinders, but they always got away without taking a hit from Clank over Heaven. And then, when they brought their flipper into play, one flip was all it took to win BashBots. And thank you to everyone who's been watching. It's been another great season of BashBots. I've been Tail of the Toaster.
And me, NJGW, enjoying this entire brilliant ride again. And congratulations to everybody who took part. It's been an absolute blast.
And so, we have crowned our BashBots 2020 champion. From Ireland, Polis, driven by Kroger, has flipped 4 of his 5 opponents out of the arena on the quest to this well-deserved title. 30 robots started this tournament 8 episodes ago, and now we are left with our champion, who can take home the giant wrench. We thank you all so much for taking this journey with us, and from all of us here at BashBots, we hope you enjoyed the season as much as we did. For the last time, good night, and we hope to see you in Season 3.